Hey guys, um, moving into a new patch of Honkai Star Rail. Again, um, Honkai Star Rail has been power grab with the introduction of Acheron and also some of the previous character, Sparkle and Black Swan, which definitely changed the meta a bit. This tier list will be for Memory Chaos only because there's some drastic difference between Pure Fiction and Memory Chaos. Um, yeah, let's look into it. So Asta A tier, you give a flat speed buff where there's no other unit that actually does that, right? They give like a percent of speed buff. Like Rame, she gives like 10% speed. So like, if you have a 150 speed character, right? That gives you 15 speed, and you still didn't reach the 161 threshold. But Asta, she gives you a flat 45 to 50 speed. Don't remember exactly, but that speed buff, like you have like a 120 speed Kafka, get 40 speed, right? She will reach the 160 plus threshold. Right? So after 8 years, there's probably no other unit that does what she does. Um, Herda in memory chaos, she don't do damage. Uh, she just doesn't do damage. She's only good in perfection because of how many actions she can take, like how many follow ups that she can do. But in memory chaos, she's not hitting. Uh, Branya, with Branya, you can clear the game easily. You don't need Sparkle. Right. With E1 Branya, your Branya is even better. She's even more consistent because you can take the chance of spending a skill point and being skill point neutral. Right. Um, do I think she's better than Sparkle? In some sense, with the perfect RNG, she is better than Sparkle because she does advance for 100%. With Sparkle, unless you do some like crazy speed tuning and stuff, with dance and um like you make you tune your character speed in a certain way. Sparkle can do 4 turns in one cycle with 134 speed character um but just with Brian it's just so much easier. Like for example, if I have a Jinglu that has 135 speed and Brian has 134 speed, Jinglu attack, Brian advance forward, Jinglu attack, Brian advance forward, right? That's 4 turns. You get 4 turns for Jinglu. That is something that you cannot do the same with Sparkle. But then Sparkle does give a bigger buff, but we'll look into that later. Right, so Sealy, I hate to put it because I really like Sealy. Right, she's my first main, and also like I just think she's hot. I like her voice line and stuff. Um, feel like she's S minus because her multiplier kind of small and her attack is kind of basic, right? Besides having some quantum resistant penetration, um, just that he's a really high investment character. If you don't have good crit rate, you don't have good crit damage, she's not gonna hit damage. She's not gonna get anything. And also, if you're fighting a non-quantum weak enemy, um, she's not gonna do much. That's why you need Silver Wolf, right? So you need a 5-star character, Silver Wolf, right? For it to be kind of used across the board. You uh you would like to have Fushuan because she can give you crit rate, right? That's something that Ceiling needs. She needs crit rate. You can build more crit damage. Sparkle Lycone gives 10% crit rate, so maybe you want to pick up Sparkle to have a full like true mono quantum team. Just you see, the team is kind of expensive, right? And right now it's 2.1, and it took up to 2.0 to really get a true mono like full mono quantum team that is viable. I still use Ceiling MLC. She does really well. Um, MLC 12 maybe taking like 4 to 5 cycle, depend how you build your Sealy, right? Oh yeah, yeah. Let's actually talk about Sparkle actually. Where's Sparkle? Okay, so with Sparkle, uh, I don't think she's too dominant. I don't think so. I think really, if you have E1 Bronya, by the way, she's in the standard banner, so you ha- she's more free to play friendly, I guess. Right, so if you get E1 Bronya, and yeah, perfect RNG, Brian is better because you will not lose skill point. Brian, although Sparkle gives skill point back, to get your ultimate, you need around like 3 turns just to get like 4 skill point. And in those 3 turns, you're gonna use 3 skill points, right? Because you're gonna use one skill point to advance for per turn. So you're only really getting back one skill point in 3 turns. While Bronya, she's skill point neutral across all turns with perfect RNG, right? So that basically that's zero, right? So like basically in 3 turns, the expected skill point usage of Sparkle is 1/3, and um no sorry, it's -1/3, right? Because you don't really use you get back to the skill point. Bronya on the other hand is zero with perfect RNG, right? Um, that 1/3 is not too significant if you have perfect RNG, right? And especially with how many actions you can take. So, yeah, especially with how many turns you can take with Bronya, I would say Bronya is better with perfect luck. But that's not true in all cases. So Sparkle is better. Sparkle does give bigger damage, bigger like more crit rate. No, more crit damage. Not really crit rate. Uh, he also gives like quantum damage to like mono quantum team. Although Brian do stand out in the way that she advanced for 100%, so you can have more turns actually. So basically what I'm saying is having more turns is better than more multiplier. Right? Having like a slightly higher multiplier does not equate to having more turns because having more turns you get to generate more energy and you get to take more action. You get to like basically double your damage, right? Especially for someone like Sealy, who could really like utilize like Bronya's like ult, her crit damage ult for like more turns. Um in some cases you could put Bronya with Sealy, but if you want to fight with like you want to fight with any other team, like you want to use want to use Quantum Sealy on any enemy, then I would say have Sparkle on. But to be honest, they're interchangeable. Having both on your account is nice. I don't think it's a bad idea to even have both of them on your account because what if you want to run 2 hyper carry, right? Hyper carry Jinglu, hyper carry Daniel, hyper carry Sealy, right? So on like MLC, because you need 2 teams, so having both of them would be a good investment. Serval's in MLC, she's not doing damage. She's not that crazy. Depart MLC, he's good, especially with Acheron, because if you put Trent on him, he could solo sustain, just build high speed. It's gonna be a little hard because he's really slow. Um, but with Trent on him, you can apply debuff and then you can let your Acheron take do more ultimate. Right? All Acheron cares about is her ultimate. And her skill. She does a little with her skill. No, she does a good amount of skill. Her ultimate does is the main source of damage. And because Japar is like the one true preservation that can really utilize Trent, I would say Japar better. Yes, just Fushren. Like Fushren's preservation, but Fushren kind of needs HP. To be honest, because just Fushren has 6,000 HP, right? And when she dropped to 3,000, you're gonna use her. You can use her like transversal thing, and then she restore back her HP, and then once you lose another 3,000, she's gonna do that again. 3,000 HP, like 6,000 HP is too little. So I wouldn't really put Trent on Fushren unless the only option is Fushren. It will still work because you can out DPS over sustaining really well, right? So if you like DPS really quick, you're good. Doesn't really matter. You don't really need a sustain, right? We're talking about MLC here, so you know the 2 ways of winning: kill them really fast or kill them adequately fast, right? Natasha, she's just a basic ass healer. See, she's the okay healer. I put Herda above because I feel like there's more use for Herda. Kayla, I think she's S minus. Um, definitely she fell off a bit because of lower ice weakness enemy and stuff. Like I guess just not many team comp really utilize Pela, but except with the introduction of Acheron, Pela is actually very viable Nihility choice. Because she AoE reduces defense. She also uh, get a lot of energy with her talent. Like one of her talent gives you like both energy if you level max it out. And having Pela at E6 will really like help your account. Um, where I would put Pela would be would go with Jinglu and she will go with Acheron. She could probably go with Blade. She also has a ice resistant penetration ability, so that can only be used with Jingli, right? Because other character, no, there's no really good ice DPS that does good damage. Minus Clara, in MLC, she's too slow. Maybe with Boo Hill in 2.2, she gonna be crazy, but like you can have a mono physical, but right now she's just too slow. Right, waiting to get hit, then follow up. Just you know, in a new changing MLC, like with how difficult a boss is, right? First of all, Clara doesn't really like she could sustain, but you also need a healer. She can't solo, right? She can't solo for seconds. She can't solo herself. And not in MLC. In Golden Gear, sure. Um, she's a strong physical. She does AOE physical, but her multiplier is kind of small, right? Maybe with Eidolon she's good, but who really has a lot of Eidolon for Clara? Right? And also her Eidolon aren't too crazy. They help. They aren't too crazy though. Sampo, he's a B tier because he's a good wind applicator. Like he applies good wind dot, right? And if you don't have Black Swan, you have Sampo. Still works very well, but do know that Black Swan is very significant in a dot team. The dot team is where it is because of Black Swan. Um, don't really want to in MOC sense. If you just have Black Swan and WoW Kafka, Black Swan is like an A tier. Like he does good dot damage, but her like ultimate, her skill just doesn't do much damage. Her dot is good, but everything else is like mediocre. So you definitely need yeah. So you definitely need Kafka to make Black Swan good. Why is she not like S plus? Why is she not S? Well, like I said, she does have flaw, and her only use is really with Kafka in a meta standpoint. Her really only use. Um, if they talk about investment standpoint, Black Swan is gonna be higher, maybe like S or S plus because she's the strongest data applier, and um, she helped Kafka a lot in MLC. So you can zero cycle with Kafka, Black Swan, Rame, Asta, or like thing. If you have Eidolon, it's gonna be really easy to zero cycle. Um, Pure Fiction is very easy. Black Swan with like dot buff. Just investment standpoint, she's very good. MLC, she's above others. You know, in terms of MLC. Physical Trailblazer, not the best investment. Why would you invest in him? Hook. In 1.0, she was good. Now she's okay. I don't need to explain that. Lolcha, he is he does clear the game. S minus, you can clear the game with S minus character. What I'm saying is like, oh, you can clear the game with also A tier characters. But in MLC, I feel like Lolcha sometimes cannot sustain too well. Uh, Maybe it's just due to how like how much damage that the bosses are doing MLC. At the current moment, I don't feel Lolcha is S tier anymore because there's no need for his cleanse really because the current MLC bosses don't really apply like powerful crowd control, like Kafka crowd control. Um, the case where even Bailu like kind of outperforms sustain than Luocha. Yes, Luocha had the Abyss, right? That's basically his AOE healing method. Um, but the thing is, Bailu always has the resurrection, and that is better than like what Luocha can do, right? Also, Bailu has invigoration with her ultimate, so basically you heal everyone. You don't have to even use a skill. Yeah, people complain about Bailu RNG and like how she need to cleanse, but in this current MLC, you do not need to cleanse. There's no need to cleanse. There's no Kafka. You're not fighting Kafka here, right? So at the current moment, like Bailu and Luocha, like Bailu I use Bailu the whole MLC. I didn't use Luocha. I had Luocha. I don't even use it because Bailu just her resurrection is more secure. You guys can say it's a skill issue. Oh, I had to use the resurrection. Like I had to use Bailu to revive myself, and like oh, Luocha can also same. Yes, Luocha can also same. But if you're so unlucky, right, and Luocha heal like maybe like Luocha heals a character, right, and you have to wait 2 turns for his passive to trigger, and you do not have emergency heal. Bailu has emergency heal, but invigoration and her ultimate is emergency and resurrection, right? So like it in some sense, Philo in this current meta is S minus. Yeah, we take it back like to maybe when Luocha came out, when there's Kafka and that Shinjo Gladiator boss, Philo will be here. Like Luocha, we like Luocha was like here, like S because um cleanse and he remove buff. Philo cannot cleanse, and when you get crowd control, it's gonna be really hard for you to like uh get the cycles that you want. But in the current MLC, Philo is better. Right? Hot take. Anyway, King Yuan. Uh, King Yuan is a S minus in MLC because even with Sparkle he was Sparkle he was A. With Sparkle he's S minus, and I think he's better than CLA. Just because the buff lasts into Lightning Lord and he does a lot more damage. But uh, the only thing that does damage is his Lightning Lord, not really his skill. His skill does okay. His ultimate does okay damage, but it's really his Lightning Lord, right? So, when you have a character like Jinglu and like Daniel, where both ultimate and skill does damage, they just output more, and that one makes them like in a higher tier than Jingyuan, right? Because they outclass Jingyuan. That's why I put Jingyuan S minus. Just like the same reason why Chile is S minus because there's DPS that outclassed her, right? Yanqing, he's not in the current meta. There's no ice weakness, right? You're not gonna use Civil Wolf. You're not gonna use because he is so skill point hungry because you must use his skill in order for you to get Soul Seal Sync. If you don't use it, unless you're at idle on 6, but if you don't use it, you're gonna get smacked with his low ass defense, low ass HP, and small multiply. His multiply is way smaller than Seele. He does damage. He does damage. Don't get me wrong. He does damage, right? But kind of he's kind of okay. He I don't know. That's decent. I mean, he is better than these guys in MLC. Not like perfection. Garbage. Don't even put him. Tingyun, with the new release of those harmonies, Tingyun, Tingyun's still S minus. He's not the same S class. I mean, if you have E6 Tingyun giving 60%, 60 energy, that is like huge, right? But Tingyun is power crept by not harmony, but also by abundance. Ho because Full also gives energy, and she gives it to all allies, 20 energy, right? I think you only give it one, and sometimes you don't really maximize her energy, right? But she also gives like 50% damage buff. Right? That's also another thing with Tingyun. Uh, as like a free to play harmony, she is a must pull. But because with the new release of other harmonies, it was from like S now to S minus, right? And I would use her with like Dance. Right? She's one character that can really like utilize Dance because other character kind of needs like their signature. Brian needs her signature to really get the skill point back to you. You get one skill point for the ult for one ult. But you kind of need a skill point with Brian. That's why. Um, but with Tingyun, he is very skill point positive because her skill lasts for 3 turns and her ultimate is um I mean, her ultimate doesn't use skill. No ultimate use. Qingque. Qingque, she's S minus. With Sparkle, she's S minus. Yes. Before Sparkle is too inconsistent. It's also still somewhat inconsistent because, like I said, Sparkle really only give you like 1/3 skill point back per turn. You had to use like for in 3 turns. You had to use skills 3 times, and you get 1 skill point after triggering an ult. But thing is, Sparkle like I said, Sparkle doesn't advance for 100%, so you're not getting 3 turns really, unless you speed tune in some ways, like with 161 speed character, then maybe high speed. But also, if you like build your DPS with really high speed like that, then you lose attack, right? You gotta be using speed boots on a DPS, right? Like using speed boot on Sealer, you're gonna see smaller damage because multiplier scaling off of attack and Sealer, right? So if you put speed boot on it, you're kind of like your crit is kind of like smaller. Even if you get a crit, it's kind of smaller than someone who has actually uses actually use attack boots because that's just how math works. Like if it says 300% of attack, then it's 300% of attack, and then whatever your crit is, let's just say 200%, 100% crit, that's times two. So 300% attack and then times two, right? But if your attack is like lower, like let's just say 50% lower, then you're gonna get 50% of the damage, right? From the even after you crit. Shu Shang, yeah, 1.0 she was good. She was like a good deep physical DPS. Now she okay. Um, yeah, I guess it's okay. It's like there's not really a use for her use for these character in MLC. Uh, Fire MC, if you do not have a preservation and you want to slap trend on someone, Fire MC is the one to use. Um, so in that sense, Fire MC is B because she could sustain. She just not really the best at solo sustain. But if you can like clear the bosses fast, then she's definitely very viable. Yukong, people forgot that she even exists in the game. That's because the only team that she really used on is Imaginary with Daniel, but she is a good harmony in that sense. She does give crit rate and crit damage. Right, I think so. So in that sense, she's A tier. Mark 7, uh, with the right defense, can be very viable. The thing is that she gonna need to sustain one character at a time. Uh, and when it comes to like when we have Sam and MLC 12, right? So Mark 7 is not protecting everyone, and also she's not healing, right? So she's she's decent. You could use Trent on her again, but she's more like used for her gimmick, like her freeze gimmick. Dangheng. Some people say Dangheng is better than Yanqing, but let's be real, Dangheng is kind of just under Yanqing in terms of power. Don't need to explain much. He out of single target DPS, he does have higher damage ceiling, but he's just not really too impressive. Also, he's old. He's a 4-star, so it doesn't really matter. Himeko, yeah, I think she's decent. She does hit harder than Herda. Um, I do see her like she could use her follow up more, like the same amount as Herda. But she just does more damage than Herda. That's why I B tier. Um, where I use Himeko, if you use Rame like a break team, Himeko can be useful. Would I put her in MLC 12? No, of course not. But MLC 7, 8, definitely viable. Well, Yang, um, he slows, does good damage, A tier. As a DPS and a specialist. Kafka, Kafka is clearly S tier with Black Swan. You don't have Black Swan, A tier. But if you do have Black Swan, he just triggers Black Swan ult Black Swan dot over and over again, right? It just what's very interesting about Kafka is that um she triggers dot on her turn. That's something that no other unit can do, and that what makes her really viable. And also like a good investment standpoint, she's kind of a must pull if you want to build a dot team. So she is a must pull. Build a dot team. Um, Usually dot multipliers are kind of high, like Black Swans. Uh, and having the ability to trigger that not on your opponent turn, but on your own turn, uh, give you more control, right? Because you can't trigger dot until your opponent takes turn. And if you're using Rame, which you should use Rame with Kafka and Black Swan because when you break an enemy with an lightning, wind, or fire or physical, they get another dot, right? So you do want to break them faster, and but once you break them, you realize that the opponent action advances, action value is a lot lower, and that means that you're not gonna trigger dot if you don't have Kafka. So by building your Kafka with extremely high speed and with the support of Rame talent that gives 10% speed to Kafka, you can you can reach like if you can reach 174 speed, amazing. Then you're guaranteed like 3 turns in the first cycle, and that will give you your zero cycle, right? Because you could re-trigger the dot over and over again. Dot do not disappear on your own turn. Dot disappear on your opponent's turn. So you gotta count off your opponent's turn, right? So if your opponent is delayed and they still the dot, and Kafka is really fast, you can just keep re-triggering on Kafka's skill and burst. Right? So Kafka is clearly S tier in MOC and also in pure fiction, but that's for another video. Civil with Mono Quantum, she's her implied is more cool, right? Because you don't have to deal with RNG and wait. Like if you land the wrong weakness, you waste a skill point. Like that's the thing. You just waste a skill point. Also, she's a very good support for Acheron. Because you apply a type 3 buff, which is like a speed, attack, defense nerf, like one of those three. And then she applies a resistance buff, and she also apply defense debuff, right? For one character, yeah. So like if you have an E0, if you have an E0 Acheron, Silver Wolf, putting Silver Wolf and Payload together, you can get your ult really fast. Um, and also like you remove almost 100% defense by doing so, right? So that's definitely like something to consider. Um, I'll put Civil Wolf above Stain because she does it's her utility that really matter the most. Also, you could build her at DPS. You could probably hit like 60k, 50k with Civil Wolf. With the right build, like most of the time, which is 50k is kind of high. Because I remember when they started the game, like Delay doesn't even do 50k until you get like supports. Like if you just solo Delay, probably 30k, maybe 80k. I don't know. But she's basically because Civil does have a really high multiplier. Arlon, not the best investment because of skill point. You know, he doesn't use skill point. Blade, he's A tier because the truth is his damage is just lower. Like his damage is just somewhat low in MLC, right? I mean HP scaling is OP, but just that his damage is just lower than like Seeley one, and he doesn't really have the support that really helps him. Like I guess the support that really help him is Jinglu support. Because Jinglu can reduce his HP and then he can get like his stacks. Right? That's a good thing. I'm glad they let that happen because getting 5 stack is kind of difficult unless you keep getting hit or you keep taking Blade's turn. But you don't really build a really fast Blade, so um Sparkle don't really help Blade. Rame helps Blade because Rame helps everyone. Which Rame? Rame, I truly think Rame is he is the top of the harmony gods because her buff resist penetration and weakness break efficiency that applies to all character. All character can use that. She also gives speed. She also gives damage buff. She also has high break effect, right? So that applies to all character, and she could help all character. Yes, she doesn't advance warrior character, but you don't. But then you can use double harmony, right? So her buff alone, like although she does not sound like a hyper carry support, her buff alone equates to the amount that Ting can give, and Ting is basically a hyper carry in some sense. He just doesn't advance forward, but getting an ultimate earlier, right? So instead of Ting Yun using Rame, you'll see so much. Like you'll see like a significant increase in damage, right? By swapping like if you build like a hyper carry Daniel, right? And you use Rame instead of Ting Yun, you see higher damage. But would I do that? No, because Daniel Daniel needs his ultimate to get his stacks. Whatever stacks his stats are called. Um but you'll see Daniel doing more damage because of Rame's buff. In Bible Lune, Daniel, he's S tier. He's right under Kafka because Kafka does clear faster than Daniel, and Kafka is more consistent. If you have Black Swan, and if you have Black Swan, you gotta consider these characters in the best situation. Daniel with Sparkle, Kafka with Black Swan, and Rame. Um, Best Daniel team will be Sparkle, Daniel, and Ting Yun in like a sustain. Maybe like Fushuan, because you can give crit damage at E1 or crit rating at E0. Right. Best team for Kafka is Kafka, Rame, Black Swan. A sustain or Asta. Um, yes, Daniel does a lot more damage. Hit up to 400k consistently with Sparkle, but then like Daniel is also slow, right? If Sparkle had 100% advanced forward, that will power creep the game. That will power creep the game. But Sparkle does not do that because Branya does that. And you know what? Same character, twice and better because Branya is still OP. Branya is still really good. Um, yeah, just that Daniel doesn't take as many turns with Sparkle. Like he does take like extra turn, but not like crazy amount. Um, and Kafka is like naturally easy to build, so like you can build high speed with Kafka. You don't need to focus on crit damage and crit rate. Those are two stats that you need to roll for. Kafka you just roll for attack percent and speed. Right? Daniel you gotta roll for some speed if you want him to take more action. You gotta roll for attack, you want him to do damage. You gotta roll for crit rate, crit damage. There's a lot. Uh, Luca, he's a decent player. He do a lot of damage. Fushuan, to this day, I think Fushuan is still the god of Honkai Star Rail. Because without Fushuan, you're not sustaining. Because or not sustaining as comfortably. And this is Fushuan with Lycon. Because I think a character should be rated with the Lycon. I don't think winning Lycon is too difficult. Right? If you save for 2 patch and you play consistently, you will likely win. You will likely get the Lycon and the character, even if you lose 50-50 in hard hitting, right? Um, Also, you can win Lycon earlier. Like the soft pity hits around like 6. So Fushuan is like Fushuan with Lycon is like not like not impossible. Also, her idol on one is like very close and also like one of the best idol in my opinion, giving 30% crit damage to all allies, basically unconditional, right? That 30% can help Sparkle. That 30% can help Bronya. That 30% can help any DPS. That 30% can help herself, right? If you get E6, it will help herself, but not really. Not really. She don't really do damage. That's the thing. He don't really do damage. But in a sustain standpoint, she mitigate really well. Um, she's Dia done right. Lynx is a good healer, but do you need her? Not really. She could heal more than Bailu, but she doesn't give crazy single target heal. So like if Sam hit you for 3,000, you're not gonna heal. Gwen Iphon. Um, Gwen Iphon's B tier decent because any dog character really has a role in this game. If you don't have Black Swan, you can always use the other dog character. Jinglu. Uh, damn. As a Jinglu main, Jinglu's my favorite character. And it's Seele. Seele and Jinglu are my favorite character. And Brianna too. Um, I think with Sparkle just make Daniel does a lot more damage. But Jinglu is so comfortable to use. You just her skill point, like she don't use any skill point at all, which makes it so that you can use Bronya consistently. Even if Bronya keep losing her skill point, you can still use her consistently. Um, just you get she's so easy to build. Give herself 50% crit rate. That's like crazy. Um, she does good damage. I don't know. Maybe you can make an argument like this, this. But let's just say because of the introduction of Sparkle helped that Daniel a lot. Right, Daniel can take more turns and he can get his 3 skill basic more often. So let's just say this is okay for now. Although I would really put Jinglu up here because of bias, but here. Trey, I think she's pretty good. But do you need to build her? No, not really. Uh, Topaz Topaz is the amazing follow up ally, like follow up support, but she doesn't really do damage. Like, it's okay. Her damage is okay. It's like seeing a bunch of Silver Wolf ult, right? Which is it's okay. It's like but it's very consistent. Yeah, but she's more like a support. And do you really need Topaz as support? The thing is that Topaz buff follow up, but she doesn't trigger follow up like she trigger her own follow up. Like she makes her follow up advance forward. She makes Numpy advance forward even more. But Kafka just does so much more damage because she triggers all the dot and the dot doesn't, right? So you can see like 100k from Kafka and you see like 30k from Topaz follow up. That's the difference. That's why Kafka is S tier and Topaz is H. Argenti in a MLC standpoint, um, he's an S minus tier because yeah, he's an S minus tier because he doesn't do much damage, and you gotta like get your 180 energy ultimate for him to really do like, massive nuke. And he does really crazy nuke. He basically does a this nuke is basically equivalent to Jinglu's ultimate, both of them together. But then like to get to that point, the amount of energy you gotta farm, and also like I don't think his talent helps out MLC like as much as pure fiction. I know he gives out energy for killing, but like you're not killing MLC kind of too tanky, right? S minus. Anya she gives skill point as support. Here is fine. Woho, she is the best abundance. Gives I don't think she's better than Rame. Investment standpoint, she's not better than Rame. Rame can buff everyone. Woho, she gives her she cleanse. She heals very well. She has high HP, right? Which Luocha don't really have. Kind of Luocha can have decently high HP, 5,500 maybe. Woho can have like 7,000. Because she's HP scaling. She gives energy to all allies, and if you watch a couple like pure fiction run, you will see that Ho is really significant because um the amount of energy she gives lets you trigger your ultimate even faster for all allies. Right, so you're basically killing pure fiction balls quicker. Also, you're doing more in MLC. Okay, so she also give attack buff. You definitely S tier. In a sustaining standpoint, like if I looking at sustain only, Bushren does way better sustain the whole, but in the utility wise, harmony supporting way, she does a lot more than Fushen. But Fushen does so much better in sustain. Um, I'll say Ho like harmony ability is as good as Ting Yun. Gotta be higher than Ting Yun. Ratio S minus. He does good damage. But when I put him above ceiling, no, I don't think so. Not in the meta. Not in the meta. Not with Sparkle. Not with Fushen. Not with Silver. Um, does he need help? Not really. I think he works very well. He clears really well. You can use him against Sam. Does a lot of damage. Misha's kind of Misha, bro. Like only good ice unit in this game. Jinglu, right? Misha is such a flop. But look at him. He is a flop or she's a flop. I don't know. Okay, Acheron. S plus. Better Fushen or no? Is she better than Fushen? She does a lot of damage. But nothing matters in the game more than sustain. Nothing like really like if you have Sealy, you have Jingyuan, you have Ultra Ratio, Kafka, Daniel, Jing, you don't need Acheron. But Acheron just does so much damage. In terms of damage, she really power crept the game. She her damage alone, in an AoE sense, is basically as good as an E6 Jinglu and an E2 Daniel. Right? Um only problem is how versatile she is. Because you kind of need to have at E0, you kind of need to use Kayla and Sibwolf and a Trent and a preservation with Trent. Push time with Trent so you can get crit rate and crit damage. Um, yeah, she just does a lot more. She just does a lot of damage, and it's kind of crazy because I wouldn't think they would release a character that actually power creeps Daniel and Jinglu already. Like it's just way too soon, right? So if you definitely have her, very fun to play, very dominant. I myself got a coffee, but I still didn't build her. But powerful. You want to see million damage? You get her. Adventuring can be a top sustain. Will he be like a Fushren? In a harmony sense, like he gets more buff, more support. But in a sustaining sense, no, maybe not. I'll say here is fine. Like right here, he does help Acheron a lot. There's a Gallagher, he's okay. Buhil, he's probably gonna be crazy, but honestly, he's probably gonna be. He's a single target. He applies physical weakness. He scale up break damage, break effect, which is crazy because you can really like do a lot with his break now. You can do a lot of damage with break effect, and you also do a lot of damage with him breaking. Right, so maybe here, maybe here, but right now I think it's here. Robin, Robin maybe here. Robin maybe here. Uh, Imaginary, yeah. I mean, there's so many good harmony. Why would you get Imaginary? Yeah. So that's it for the tier list. If you have any opinion about this, please comment below. I'm open to talking about this. I guess like the only hot take is Bailu. Maybe some deep dark character. Yeah, but I don't see any flaw in here. I think my opinion is right. Opinion, or you can change your mind. Right? All right.